Trump is not mandating, Trump is recommending that everybody now wear masks. And he's claiming that the peak of this coronavirus crisis is going to show in the next week or two. He's predicting 100 to 300,000 deaths. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is set in stone. He doesn't know the future, only God does. So if you see these types of statistics in the news, please don't believe it. Don't fall for it. Do I believe, in my opinion, that there's going to be more deaths? I believe so, but I certainly hope not. I don't know what the numbers are going to be. Could it be 100,000? 200? Yes. Could it be less? Yes. I hope there's no more deaths. But we all know that this situation is going to get worse before it gets better. We are in a recession, from what I'm understanding, because the oil market crashed as well. So, when we are in a recession, it's going to take time to recover from that recession. So when you're in a recession, when the nation's in a recession, normally they go through a storm, and then when the storm subsides, it's time to recover. And it's not going to be an overnight recovery. It takes time. So all we can do to get through this together is to help one another and not make excuses if someone is doing something that's an error. Some of you reached out to me and asked me, how do you go about applying for a job if the internet keeps getting inundated with traffic? So this is my answer to that question. What you could actually do is either go on the internet late at night or early in the morning when the traffic is less. And you should be able to submit resumes. Some of you also asked, what do you do in a situation if the severance at your job is less than what you were expecting? First of all, you want to get clarification from your employer if you're going to be rehired or not. And I mentioned this in the prior video because some employees are being furloughed, and furloughed means that you're on a temporary layoff. It's not permanent. When your company intends on hiring you when they reopen and when things hopefully get financially better. Layoff means just that. You are permanently laid off. So you want to get clarification from your boss if you're either furloughed or permanently laid off. And if you're not permanently laid off, if they plan on hiring you back, you want to get that in writing. You might want to also discuss with your employer if they're willing to hire you back. If they can't hire you full-time or keep you on full-time, these are for those that are about to get laid off. If they can cut your hours back or have you part-time, because that way you can still qualify for unemployment benefits. You might also want to ask let's say if you are already laid off, you might want to reach out to your employer and ask them if it's possible, if it's possible, it doesn't hurt to ask, if there's enough room for you to come back, but on a part-time basis, whatever they can spare, whatever hours that they can spare. So I hope that answers your question. For those of you that absolutely have no savings, there's a number of resources you can tap into. If you have a YouTube channel, you can monetize those videos depending on how many subscribers you have. You could look into doing other things like seeing if there's any work at home opportunities available out there. If you have a 401k, you could borrow against that. If you have a tax refund coming, you want to keep an eye on that. I have an update for you on the stimulus economic payment that Trump signed. As far as I know, they are supposed to be dispensing the funds April 9. Hopefully that won't change. So how that's going to work is If you filed, and I explained this before in a prior video, but I'll be happy to explain it again. If you filed your tax return electronically, and let's say you was expecting a refund, this is for 2018 or 2019, what will happen is that the IRS will use your bank account information from those returns and directly deposit these funds from the economic stimulus payment into your bank account. That's the fastest way to get it. If you did not have your refund directly deposited and you had it mailed to you, then the check will be mailed to you, and unfortunately it could take longer. It could take like a few months. That's what I've been hearing. With the direct deposit, it's much quicker. Some of you asked, do you have to file an income tax return in order to have the funds directly deposited? I believe you have to file an income tax form, an income tax return. I mean, it's going to help you because if you're expecting a refund back, my advice is to get it done ASAP. If you go to irs.gov/corona, it'll give you the update on this. But it says on there that when the IRS has more information, it gets closer to that point where they're going to be dispensing the funds. And for those that did not include bank account information on the tax return, that there's going to be like this portal where you can enter your bank account information in there so they could directly deposit these funds into your bank account. So that's what I saw. And I'm also hearing things that if you don't have, like if you did not include your bank account information on your tax return, they're going to mail a check. But now the IRS is saying that they'll give you a chance to enter your bank account information through this web portal on the IRS's website so they can directly deposit these funds into your account. So there's a little hope there yet. So, and the way that it works is if you make, the stimulus income is based, the stimulus payment is based on your income. So if you make $75,000 or less, as if you get $1,200 for an individual, like single. If you're married, you don't have any kids, you get $2,400. If you have a child that's under the age of 18, please don't quote me on that, you get $500 per child. If you had a household, $1,200 per person. Like if you're living with, if you had a household and you're the one that's making the money, it's $1,200 and then $500 per child. So that's a little chunk of change that you could be using during these times and such. I don't know if you're noticing in your area, but in my area, I'm noticing that the supermarkets are starting to stock up on food. And from what I'm hearing, that toilet paper is going to be following shortly thereafter, but it's not going to be that far in the future. But the only catch is that they're jacking up the prices. They're increasing the prices. I noticed that the groceries are much more higher, and I noticed that the gas prices are cheaper. I gotta say, having cheaper gas prices is a major plus. So this is what I have for you right now at the moment. I will relay information to you as I get it. So just stay strong through these tough times and don't give up.